When the 200,000-ton steel array tore through the fog of dawn, in the Pacific Ocean, the dense light dots that suddenly flashed on the radar screen of the U.S. base in Guam, did it herald the complete reshaping of the strategic pattern of the Western Pacific Ocean? Late in the night of June 8, 2025, the Japanese Ministry of Defense released an urgent notification that was like a huge boulder thrown into the surface of a calm lake. The Chinese Navy's Liaoning, the aircraft carrier battle group, broke through the second island chain for the first time with a thunderous force, and after completing a circumnavigation of the U.S. strategic hub of Guam, it brazenly advanced into the vast waters east of Iwo Jima. This unprecedented steel torrent consists of 16 advanced warships, with a total tonnage exceeding 200,000 tons, and the scale of its escort force is equivalent to the sum of 2 conventional carrier battle groups. The lineup is clearly arranged, with 3 known as the Carrier with Sword Guard, 055 type 10,000 tons of destroyers, 5 with a strong regional air defense capability of 052D type Chinese Shield destroyers, 5054 type ocean-going frigates, and 2 large integrated supply ships, together constructed the Asian naval history of the most majestic ocean combat cluster. The most shocking core strength of the Deep Blue Fleet is its destructive firepower network of more than 1,000 vertical missile launchers. In these silos hidden deep below the deck, HHQ-9B long-range air defense missiles and HHQ-16 medium-range air defense missiles are woven into an impenetrable air barrier, while YJ-18 supersonic anti-ship missiles and the epoch-making YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship ballistic missiles form an invulnerable spearhead of the attack. Only 3055 type 10,000 tons of large drive will carry as many as 72 YJ-21 missiles. The terminal breakout speed of more than Mach 6, Carrier Killer, can penetrate any active air defense system in the world today. By the Pentagon's internal assessment report called A Moving Nightmare, when the fleet cruises into the strategic waters off Guam, the 656 general-purpose Patat tube units deployed on its ships, if half of them are loaded with land attack cruise missiles, would be enough to carry out devastating saturation strikes on 29 to 40 key military nodes, from the runway complex at Andersen Air Force Base, to the underground fuel tanks at Apra Naval Base, to the core command and control centers, the entire defense system of Guam Control Center. The entire Guam defense system could be brought to a functional standstill in a matter of hours. The surface fleet that has captured the world's attention is just the tip of the iceberg. According to authoritative military analysts, there are at least 2 Type 093B nuclear attack submarines sailing along underwater, bringing the actual strength of the entire battle group to 18 ships. Such a scale of surface, underwater joint formation can be called the end of the Second World War in the Pacific waters after the emergence of the largest non-US maritime combat group. From June 7, when it was captured by satellites near Japan's easternmost territory of Minami Torishima, to the next day, when it was confirmed to be close to Iwo Jima, the Liaoning fleet crossed 3,000 nautical miles in high-speed maneuvering in 14 days, which not only verified the Chinese Navy's nuclear and normal prepared oceanic comprehensive security capabilities, but also drew a fatal arc of death on the strategic map in its sailing trajectory around Guam. This well-designed route is interpreted by military observers as a simulated wartime back attack on Guam, completely cutting off its strategic links with the third island chain of combat tactical previews. When the J-15T carrier-based fighter jets on the flight deck of the Liaoning ship frequently take off and land in the airspace 400 nautical miles west of Guam, the KD-88 air-to-surface missiles mounted under the wings have brought the entire island of Guam into the effective strike radius. This safe backyard, operated by the U.S. military for decades, was for the first time nakedly exposed to the PLA carrier-based aircraft firepower coverage. The Pentagon's internal strategic report has repeatedly warned the collapse of the second island chain of defense will directly lead to Hawaii and even the U.S. West Coast gate open. More strategic meaning is that this action coincides with the U.S. military in the Western Pacific rare war vacuum. Washington's aircraft carrier due to urgent maintenance early withdrawal to Yokosuka, Nimitz in the South China Sea by the Shandong ship battle group firmly in check. The former oceanic hegemon can only watch through the lens of reconnaissance satellites the trails left by 200,000 tons of Chinese steel in the traditional U.S. sphere of influence. The route chosen by the Liaoning carriers contains deep historical symbols. On the eve of the Battle of Midway, in 1942, the U.S. Army Doolittle Air Corps took off from the Hornet carrier to attack Tokyo, and in the subsequent trilogy of actions, the US fleet attacked Minami Torishima, which sounded the horn of the Pacific counteroffensive. When China's aircraft carrier fleet appears in the same historic waters in 2025, it will not only pay tribute to its predecessors, but also announce to the world the dawn of a new era. Especially intriguing is that the Taiwan authorities until the fleet away from the symbolic sent 5 F-16V mounted ammunition to lift off for vigilance. This delayed response deeply exposed its strategic anxiety. When the main land aircraft carrier's sword blade pointed directly to the depths of the ocean, the Taiwan Strait has changed from the ultimate strategic goal to a wider strategic goal. The ultimate strategic goal has been transformed into a departure position for projecting power into the wider Pacific Ocean. This breakthrough has subversive strategic value. It marks that the Chinese Navy has completely broken through the geographical and psychological boundaries of the island chain, and has formally transformed itself from a coastal defense to a strategic navy, with the ability to act globally. The Liaoning battle group shows not only the fleet's all-area combat capabilities of anti-aircraft, anti-ship, anti-submarine, and land strike, but also the maturity of the PLA's Farsi systematic operations. In particular, 3055 destroyers constitute the carrier escort triangle. Its integrated radio frequency system and dual-band radar to build the battlefield perception network, so that the formation has the ability to fight against strong enemy system. The range of YJ-21 missiles is more than 1,500 kilometers, which puts the U.S. hard-earned frontier bases at an unprecedented strategic risk. History always completes a meaningful cycle in the deep blue track. When the Liaoning's course coincides with the route of the U.S. counterattack on the Pacific 83 years ago, the balance of power in the Western Pacific is undergoing the most drastic reshaping since World War II. The U.S. military's hasty withdrawal of its carriers from Yokosuka and the sudden elevation of its Guam bases to the highest level of operational readiness silently proclaimed the complete collapse of the myth of the absolute security of the second island chain. When the Fujian ship with electromagnetic catapult fighters to join the oceanic sequence, this fleet of 1,000 bombs will not only be a geographic boundary breakers, but also will become a key force in shaping the future order of the sea. Just as the Liaoning battle group drew a track in the center of the Pacific Ocean, the journey of the rise of a great power will eventually be determined by the deep blue, and this vast area of water, which was once dominated by a single force, is witnessing the dawn of a new era. In the foreseeable future, with the regularization of China's carrier battle groups deep into the Pacific hinterland, the strategic balance of the Western Pacific will continue to evolve, and this feat of breaking the chain with 1,000 bombs has already become the most eye-catching milestone in the process of this history.